Good morning. Good Monday morning, everyone. I hope everybody's awake and energized for this week. Phil is laughing because we just had a little bit of conversation about the Super Bowl. But thank you for joining us and watching this video. I've got a really great special. I'm honored to actually bring him on and introduce him. Many of you know him as the master, the legendary Phil Atwan of 1031 Exchanges. I know his
I
last
was hoping
frequent.
you didn't say master of disaster, but
That, no. Phil, thank you for jumping on this call this morning. How you
I'm
doing?
honored to be here. Thank you, Karl.
Yeah, thank you for jumping on. So Phil Atwan from Exchange Resources is one of our valued, trusted partners when we deal with 1031 exchanges. He'll get a little bit more into detail about what he does, how he got into the industry. So, like I said, he's one of the go-to trusted vendors when we look for 1031 exchange accommodators. Phil, you've been doing this since 1997, 98. So I'm going to let you take over, tell our viewers what you've done and a little bit of a bio about yourself.
Oh, thanks, Karl. Karl, I began in the business in 1982. When I got
Wow.
into the business, I was with the title insurance industry. I broke in and interest rates had just dropped all the way down to 18.5%.
Yeah.
So I've seen lots of highs and lows in terms of interest rates. I've seen highs and lows of marketplaces. In 1998, I transitioned from North LA County sales manager with a big title insurance company, and I began in the 1031 exchange industry. Best move I've ever made. I've never
Great.
looked back. The title insurance thing has really helped me out a lot. But the bottom line is that the exchange world, I've learned the tax end of it, and I'm really delighted to answer any questions you or your clients may have,
Sure.
because this thing called the 1031 exchange can really be a dynamic help to the investment real estate portfolio to make it grow.
Absolutely. And I think essentially a lot of people that we counter, residential, commercial, portfolio holders, apartment owners, essentially, people have heard of the word 1031 exchange, but I think a lot of people essentially don't know too much, whole lot about 1031 exchange. There's a lot of tax implications, whenever you associate the word tax to 1031 exchange. So tell just briefly about what is a 1031 exchange and how could an asset owner, while they're doing a sale, how could they benefit from getting away from the capital gain taxes. Tell us about 1031 exchange.
Good question, Karl. When an investor owns either number one property that they've been charging rent on for at least the last 2 years or longer, or they've been using as an owner user for the last 2 years or longer, or if they have vacant land that they've been holding for the last 2 years or longer, the federal government 102 years ago in 1921 created this thing called the 1031 tax deferred exchange. It's tax deferred, it's not tax free. Yes. Number two, it allows you to move your investment property from what you have to sell that to put it in other properties for three basic reasons. Number one, to create more income, to have more front doors that pay you rent. Or number two, it allows you to go into better properties by re-leveraging the equity, so you have more properties that will go up in value. Yes. Over time. Biggest regret most of us investors have is we wish we bought one more, two more, three more, whatever. And imagine what the growth would have been just looking backwards. Yes. Every time we look forward, we get scared. When we look backwards, we say, what did we not, why didn't we trust the system? Yes. And the bottom line is that that's why people do exchanges. They have more front doors that pay them rent, more buildings that will go up in value. And ultimately, it's to create, believe it or not, less you will pay in income taxes to both the state and the federal on the rent you collect, because now you have more tax write-offs. That's right. Up. And that's what the 1031 exchange is. Yes.
And Phil, obviously, I want you to, because we've got, like I said, it's the big, guessing game. Can I exchange do I need to stay in the same state that I'm selling the property, or can I go all across the country? So confirm with us. So if somebody's doing an exchange, can they look at for similar type of property in the country, or does it have to be in the same state?
Good question. The first thing the government tells us, Karl, that it has to be like kind property. But
Yes.
what does that mean? Can I sell a condo I've been renting out for the last few years and go into vacant industrial land? Would that be like kind? According to the government, the answer is yes, because what you're selling is investment real estate, and what you're going to buy is replacement investment real estate. And the government entitles or dedicates, in terms of a label, one of three things: rented, or owner user, or vacant land. So you can sell any one of those three and exchange into any one of those three. And here's the beautiful thing: it's a federal tax code, which means you can exchange from where you and I are now, here in Southern California, anywhere in the United States.
That's
so
right.
If you want to exchange into Hawaii, New York, you want to go to Tennessee or Texas or Montana, it doesn't matter. It's federal tax code. It's for investment real estate anywhere in the United States.
Great. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, there's a lot of confusion. We get that question asked a lot, and I know that every time that question comes up, yeah, it's a question that gets popped around a lot, and a lot of people are confused. They're like, oh, okay, if I don't find anything in Southern California or anywhere in California, what can I do? Is this going to put me in that tax bracket where within 45 days if I don't find something? So I'm glad you clarified. Tell us a little bit about the timing. How much time do you have to essentially find a replacement up to 3 properties and essentially close on one of them? I would love for you to explain that to our viewers as well, Phil.
You've got it, Karl. When you do an exchange, the goal is to buy replacement property. Well, the government sets deadlines to that in a 1031 exchange. First of all, we have to set up the sale as an exchange with the escrow officer before it closes. So we usually say, give us 2 weeks before closing, if not earlier. Number two, once you close, that's when the time deadlines begin. You have 180 days, which is a little less than 6 months, 180 days to close what you're going to buy.
Yes.
But you only have the first 45 days of that 180 days to name up to 3 different properties under the 3 property rule, of which you can buy 1 or 2 or all 3.
Yes.
The government lets you buy equal or greater by reinvesting all the cash from the sale into 1 property or 2 or 3, whatever you want to do. You can buy 1 in New York, you can buy 1 in Alaska. As long as what you're buying is in the United States and you close within the 180 days, and in those first 45 days after the sale closes, what you're going to buy is named on that list, and you can change the list, but not after day 45.
Yes.
So what that means is they need to trust you to not just list and sell their property, but to begin to show them replacements.
That's
so
right.
They know what to look for, because they probably want to be in escrow on a purchase before they even close their sale, and
That's
not
right.
wait to day 45.
Yes, of course.
After the sale closes.
Yeah.
So that will ensure that they have a good, successful exchange.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people essentially on our side of the industry, as brokers, as as realtors, commercial advisors, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on our side as well. We just actually completed 2 different dispositions for some of our commercial clients, and the timing is very important, and you got to be on your tiptoes and try to find that replacement property. So it's not just essentially creating that package, putting it out there and selling it and see you later. But essentially our job essentially is to accommodate and find a replacement property for our clients. Yeah. Phil, like I said, you're very knowledgeable, and I always look up to you whenever I need anything related to the 1031 exchange. Last question. What are your thoughts about the ULA coming in as of April 1st? I know, everybody's talking about this. We and you shared a little bit. I mean, March 1st is going to start in Santa Monica, as you know. And then April 1st, 2023, this ULA is going to kick in. What is your feedback overall, your opinion? I've got my opinions, obviously, but what are your opinions? Do you think this is a this is essentially good thing, bad thing? What are your thoughts?
This is my thought. And Carl, that's a good question. And I can get myself into a lot of trouble based
No,
on
no,
how
no.
I
It's
answer
gonna
this.
be that's gonna be censored.
Yeah, no, it might need to censor. We'll see. Here's the deal. The exchange was created to releverage property. To releverage property, they have to hire a real estate agent, maybe a transaction coordinator, an escrow company, a title company. How many services will be affected
That's
by
right.
a sale? 50 people, 75 people will get a paycheck. When they will get a paycheck, two things happens. Number one, they pay taxes to the feds and to the state, and transfer tax to the county and city. Number two, they go out and they buy.
Yes.
That creates more jobs again. Everybody gets paid. This is the deal. ULA will slow that process down. Not only will they slow down the process of sales, but they'll slow down the economy growing in those particular areas, because real estate is the engine, if the
Yes.
locomotive that pulls the United States economy. To do something like that, and this is the part that really troubles me, this is the part you may have to censor out.
No.
How can people who don't own property vote
Vote.
taxes on people who do, who are
Yes.
giving them jobs? I
Yeah.
do not understand that.
Yeah.
That's like taking a gun and just shooting yourself in the foot or in the chest.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. And I hope that you and your group is successful in making sure that you can stop or repeal this ULA through the court system. I know it's been tried before. It hasn't been successful, but we have to set a precedence. This is suicidal.
Yeah.
For people to vote something like that makes no sense.
Yeah, I know. I just recently, I think they had over 1 million signatures to essentially put this on the ballot in 2024 to essentially overrule it, overturn it. Let's see how it goes. But I think essentially we're feeling the pinch from some of our sellers, because at a 5 million to 10 million at 4.5% transfer tax, and then anything essentially above 10 million at 5.5%, it's pretty steep. And I think it's creating a little bit of crunch in the market. But I'm glad that, obviously, I covered that aspect. Yeah, I'm gonna share with our viewers, obviously, your contact details. But if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way, Phil? Tell us.
There's two ways to contact me. Number one is my phone number, area code 213-479-8800. Or you can contact me via email, Phil Atwan, PHILATWAN @gmail.com.
Wonderful. Phil, I'm gonna put that right underneath the comments. And obviously I would love for our viewers to get in contact with you if they have any questions. I will be in contact with you as we're going through a long couple of exchanges. But you've been great. Like I said, I always appreciate your feedback. I know we've been working together for the last 7 to 8 years. Like I said, you're a genius with 1031.
Well, thank you. Could I interject one more thing, Carl?
Of course.
A lot of investors today are concerned that I definitely want to exchange. I definitely want to go into something that's going to be better for me. I want to expand my money in my real estate. But here's the thing. I'm afraid, because there's not a lot of inventory out there.
Yes.
Can I really find something in 45 days? And I just want your viewers to consider this. The federal government will also allow you to do this on a reverse basis.
Yes.
Which means you will close the purchase first.
Yes.
And then close the sale, because it's easy to close a sale when there's lots of buyers. It's just tough to find the replacement property. They'll let you do it backwards. And in terms of a 1031 exchange, it lets you wait until you find the right property, then grab it, go to escrow, and then
close it.
Sell the property with you, close the purchase first, and then the sale up to 180 days.
Yeah. Yeah, we've just actually done one last year on a reverse exchange. It's I enjoyed working with you, Tim. Phil, I really want to appreciate your time this Monday morning, and I'm sure you're excited. The Dodgers are coming up, 2 more weeks, spring training.
Yeah, and I'm hoping my USC Trojans, you could see.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we'll get some good recruits to have a good season as well.
This year we got to do a Dodgers game together, Phil. I know you're used to
I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll put all your contact details, and definitely, like I said, I appreciate your time this morning. And then we'll be in touch.
All the best, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Phil. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.